Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. You don't know, my name is Chad. Take a dive world sports. And welcome to the NHL playoff preview video. That's right, the season is done. The 16 teams, are locked and set. The places are set. The President's Trophy winner has been selected. Probably find themselves not winning the cup. That seems to be the ongoing theme for that trophy. And there's a few surprises that maybe snuck in there that you might not thought of, and then I'll go ahead and provide you my picks for this first round of action. But before I dive into all that action, if you could go ahead and smash that thumbs up for me, it really pleases you two gods, help promote this channel out. You also subscribe, love you guys review my work, and love you all for doing that. And I mean, if you subscribe, it's cost you a dime, it helps me provide more entertainment value for you. Now, looking at these playoff series, the Eastern Conference is going to be the pinnacle of it because this is the first time, I think it was 10 teams end up having 100 points, which is like the record of in history of how many teams get 100 points. Used to be a rare feat for clubs to get that many points, but now it just seems like everywhere you turn, it's every single one because everyone in the East got it. And there was 13 clubs and getting 100 points this season. That's just ridiculous. And with that many, does that mean they're that good or the rest of the league that bad? It's kind of weird, kind of looking at, trying to figure out exactly where you want to blame where that it is, or maybe just the talent's getting that good. And you get those overtime losses, so that piles up after a while. But with that being said, there's every single one in the East, like I said, all had 100 points, and 5 out west did it. So, and LA was very close to getting there. They were at 99, so it was a very tight, pretentious race between a lot of these playoff scenarios. And technically, even Dallas and Nashville were within 3 points of 100. So it was a very top-heavy, you could probably say, this year for the NHL. But set. So let's go ahead and start off in the East. And let's go ahead and start off with the President's Trophy winner, Florida. Florida dominated pretty much the entire season from the word go. And they've been one of the... Their bright spot was really defending home ice and being the number one seed throughout the playoffs. Probably looks more in their favor. And it's just, how much they've got. They have 3 players scored over goals a season. Then you have another 6 with 50-plus points. So they got a lot of things in there. The player to kind of watch out for is Claude Guerrero. Florida was his only destination he wanted when he requested, put his name on the block out of Philadelphia. He's been with Philadelphia for a long time. He never could really, reach that pinnacle. His best shots with Florida, and the only issue you could probably say with Florida, defense and goaltending, which is kind of hard to say that, especially with the way they've been playing most of the series. Bobrovsky's kind of struggled towards the end of the season. The save percentage is below 90%. So it's could be there and they find themselves trailing by double digits or multiple goals. And many of those games have to come back and win it. So they're going to struggle a bit, but lucky for them, their first round opponent is Washington. Now, Washington kind of crawled into the postseason, and right now, injuries are going to be a major factor. Ovechkin missed the last 3 games of the season due to a shoulder injury. So it's kind of see if he's going to be able to make it into the first round and be somewhat productive. He also had issues with Backstrom and Oshie, so there's a lot of injury problems with some of their veteran players, their older players. But this is going to be just too much for for them to overcome, especially dealing with Florida, and Florida have at least getting the 4 wins at home, and I think Washington will take 2 at D.C. So Florida's going to win this one in 6. Another huge matchup will be between Toronto and Tampa Bay. Toronto's trying to end their drought. They, paper-wise, on paper, they look extremely good. But every time they always make the playoffs, they struggle. They never seem to get out the first round. They do. They don't last very long after that. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. I don't know why that is. I mean, Austin Matthews is probably, one of the greatest American goal scorers right now in the National Hockey League. And Toronto is built to be a very competitive team. I mean, both defense and offensive wise, they're just a juggernaut. But their biggest problem is going to be confidence. It's just the stigma right now with the Maple Leafs in the postseason, especially when they're always get bounced by Boston or Montreal. It's just one of these things that they're the demons under the ice that could play havoc with them. Plus, they've taken on the 2-time Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. They haven't been as dominant as they have been, but they're still a very potent team. And things you kind of look at, could they repeat for a 3rd time? Be the first 3-peat champion since the Islanders in the early 80s. NHL hasn't seen that in a long time, a team being that dominant for so long. And they're just getting everything they can out of their players, with Valesky just being dominant between the pipes. So that Stamkos being a electrifying force for the Lightning offense. And defensive wise, so I have Hedman back there to kind of keep everything in check. But I think for them, fatigue's going to be an issue, and how other teams are kind of caught up with them and tried, an arms race, and probably actually a little bit better. However, I don't see them. I see the series going 7. I really do, because I really think Toronto's really going to try their hardest to knock off the Lightning. But the Lightning's going to trying to cement their lore and Stanley Cup history and become legends themselves. And I think Tampa Bay will knock off Toronto in 7. Now, on the other side of the East, you have the Metropolitan Division winners, Carolina Hurricanes. Very quietly amassed 116 points. I mean, it's just one of these teams that was just no one really paid attention to. Especially when you have Sebastian Aho just being, a very quality young talent on that team, just very potent with that offense, especially with Shavinchikov as well, being a dynamic duo. So they got Jordan Staal out there, providing some, veteran leadership, and then Martin Nikas being, their young gun per se. So they're actually, and Brenda Moore has really got these guys coached up right and just doing the best thing. But with Frederick Anderson, that could possibly miss a few games. This could provide a window opportunity. But it's just one of these things that another demon that's kind of lurking around a lot of these clubs is they haven't won a playoff series since 2015. Does that really play in a factor? Possibly. Because their first round matchups against Boston, just a very tough physical team that would take it to. And they still got some other guys out there that could possibly score, like Patrice Bergeron, that could really Taylor Hall, that can really change the dynamic, really. They're very defensive minded. They're very, like I said, very physical. But consistency has been a major issue, and can, Marchand kind of stay out of trouble. So that's kind of the main thing. But for me, since I picked Boston to win it all in the preseason video, I'm going to stick with Boston in this one. It's going to be 7 games, but this is probably be the one where I could probably lose it all right here in this series. Because I can see Carolina taking it in 6. But if the puck bounced the right way, comes off the board, certain things just doesn't quite happen, I think Boston can take this in 7. And then the final matchup in the East will be between the Rangers and the Penguins. Now, the Rangers have just a lot of talent, and their goaltender, Igor Shesterkin, has been dominant between the pipes. That really kind of helped propel this team. Panarin's really trying to find himself now, finally. Things really emerged once again as the focal point of an offense. He played like third fiddle in Chicago during the runs when he was there. But now he's, a few years removed now. I think he's finally getting there. The power play is going to be one of their biggest flaws, and they don't have it very often in the playoffs, and they're not one of the best in terms of doing that. So you have to watch out for that one. And then on the Pittsburgh side, this is just a collage of great talent with Sidney Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Jeff Carter, Brian Rust, Gunsel. It's just, these guys are just working well together to gel well together. But their problem is going to be goaltending as well. It seems to be a recurring theme with a lot of these clubs. Tristan Jarry is pretty much the question mark with him. He's come with some decent saves, but then the other guy they got, Casey DeSmith, is another one. They can also, do some things, but they both kind of been hit and miss throughout, so it's kind of really trying to see which one will take, focal point on that, and also not having Zucker for this series because he's out for injury. That could be a bad thing to kind of look at, but here's I think it's going to go 7. I think it's going to go down to goaltending, and it just also depends on which star is going to rise to the top. Is Crosby going to lift the Penguins over the Rangers, or is Panarin going to do that for the Rangers? Which goaltender becomes this is going to be a phenomenal series. I said 7 games, and I got to go with the old man on this one. I'm going to take Pittsburgh in 7, but I can see this one going to the Rangers as well. Once again, another hard decision, but now I've knocked off 3 top seeds already in the first round. It's just in the East. I haven't got to the West yet, and that conference is wild. So let's go ahead and jump to the West with Colorado, the best team out West. I think everyone's kind of looking at them to win it all. I've done this a few times in the past where I always pick Colorado and they just choke, so I'm not going to pick them to win it. I think I do have them going into the finals, finally, but then not coming up. But it's just, with McKinnon being, the focal point, and Lincoln and another quality scorer as well. And you still got Kadri and Maker. This is just so many excellent things that, the Avs are doing. But it's the defensive chemistry and the penalty kill that could be the biggest flaw for this team to kind of see how they can deal with adversity, basically. I don't think it's going to be much of an issue with their first-round opponents, which will be Smashville. That's right. The Nashville Predators will take on the Colorado Avalanche that first round. Nashville is playing underdog, and they love that role very much. They just personify that. And then, when they're in the corner, that's when they're, the Predators attack. And that's going to be the best thing that's going to come up for them. No one's really taking them seriously. Their biggest thing, can the Predators keep it together in their own end? Once they get on their side, it's just things start to fall apart with them, and it's just kind of looking at why things kind of do the way they do. Their goaltender Soros could be missing up to 2 games in that, and that could just really hamper them in the long run against the Avs. And I think the Avs are just way too powerful for them. But I think this is going to be probably the quickest series of all the first rounds. I'll say Colorado wins at 5. And then this matchup between Minnesota and St. Louis is going to be epic. These two are battling back and forth to find out who's going to host between these two, and Minnesota ended up edging them out right at the end. And right now they're going to look at Marc-Andre Fleury to kind of lead the charge. I mean, you got to think he already has he had that great run the first year with Vegas. He was a great goaltender with Pittsburgh. So they're going to look at him to kind of lead them to the promised land. But it's the Minnesota special teams that kind of has let them down a lot. And Fleury is not as dominant as he once was. So he does allow a few goals in. He would normally stop a few years back, mind you. So just kind of, look at that one to see how that goes. But Minnesota's a very tenacious team, so we'll kind of see how that one goes. But taking on St. Louis that first round, it's going to make it a 7-game series. I'm just going to say right now, it's going to be 7. St. Louis is just a thing that's going on. But the St. Louis team is eerily similar to the one that won the Stanley Cup back in 2019. So there's things to kind of seeing how things go. Billington was the goaltender then during that title run. Now he's more of a backup and kind of rebounded himself and collected himself, kind of, keeping himself grounded and being a reliable backup to Husa. But defense is going to be the biggest issue, as always, with St. Louis. So it's just kind of see where Kyrou and Tarasenko kind of play and how many points they end up scoring. These are the two focal points right now to see if Minnesota can silence those two guys. But like I said, this is going to be a 7-game series, and I'm taking Minnesota edging out St. Louis in this one. And the Pacific Division, the Red Hot Flames, no pun intended, but these guys are just on fire. Sorry. I had to. I mean, just it writes itself. But they are just phenomenal right now. Gaudreau is one of those 40.4s. You still got Kachuk and Lindholm, as well as Mangiapane are going to be right there behind them, kind of putting the points up there. So it's just one of these very thing. But the problem with Calgary is they're very top heavy on offense. So I guess a good defense is a explosive offense. If you start putting points on the board, it makes it kind of hard for the other team to kind of catch up, and especially if you put in 4 goals in the net. Now teams got to go a little more aggressive, which allows you to kind of play off of that and put up more. But we'll kind of see how this one plays off. But their first round opponent is Dallas, and the Stars, I said, will sneak in there. They actually got in number 7 because Nashville kind of struggled a bit. But with Pavelski, Hintz, and Robertson being, the most underrated trio in all NHL, these guys have pretty much carried the Stars leading into the postseason. But depth scoring has been an issue for Dallas throughout the season. So I don't see much thing being changing in that. Seguin and Ben have been underperforming all season, so unless they flip a switch and start lighting up the lamp, I really think Calgary can get out of here with 6. Take the series in 6 games. So we'll kind of see how this one kind of goes. And then the final series of the first round, the Gretzky series. That's right. Edmonton Oilers will play host to LA Kings, and Edmonton everyone already knows of Connor McDavid and Draisaitl, the dynamic 1-2 punch right there for Edmonton. So those are things that look out for. But unfortunately, behind those two, there's not much else. And if teams can shut those two guys out, good luck with that. McDavid can skate around all 5 players on the ice and still in the back of the net. So it's one of the things you kind of have to look out for. And then Mike Smith has just been one of these goaltenders that's been on a tear right now between the pipes for the Oilers. So think everything's pointing towards Edmonton way, but for LA, the dark horse coming into the season, got in the playoffs, and they're just young, talented, and the team that will be here for the long haul. And you got Jonathan Quick still being quick in the pipes, doing what he has to do to kind of make things happen. So, I think the youngness of the team is what's going to be probably the biggest flaw for their series, and then how they can handle McDavid and Draisaitl on Edmonton. But I think Edmonton's going to be just too much for LA. LA's going to make it interesting, but Edmonton takes it in 6. Well, there goes the first round. I'm not going to go the whole playoff series, but the next round's going on, because I'm just going to say right now my preseason pick has been Boston. I'm going to stick with Boston until they bounce. So that's why I'm going on a limb with them against Carolina. I understand that Carolina could probably knock them out in probably 6 games, probably even 5 games. Carolina's that good. But like I said, since I picked Boston at the beginning of the season, I got ride and die with them until, the wheels fall off, basically. Well, those are my picks. So what do you think? Do you think I'm way off a lot of these series? I mean, I did go on a limb in a couple of these. So, like I said, Boston's definitely going to be one of them. I think Pittsburgh, some of these things could go the opposite direction. So let me know in the comments below which these matchups you think are going to win. Which one of these 16 teams has the best shot of lifting the Stanley Cup? Once again, when you're there, you can also hit the smash up. You can also share this video with your friends or family. It really helps promote this channel out. And once you subscribe, hit that bell notification. Let you know next time we post a video. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.